Okay, so you're not going to believe what happened to me on Saturday. I had a date planned, but she decided not to come. It was too far, even though it was her idea to meet her. And so I went to the store, and once I was done shopping, I noticed this guy just standing outside the store with something in his hands. And he looked toward me, and I noticed that he was looking at me, but I put my stuff on the bike, and I looked at him again, and he was looking at me. So I smiled, and then I biked home. And of course, I did expect this to happen, but he biked after me. And after getting up alongside me, he started to small talk. And then a couple of minutes later, he asked, "Wait, are you okay with all of those closers?" And I said, "Yeah, of course, I don't have a choice." And then after another couple of minutes, because we live in the same directions, he asked, "So after I drop this off, do you maybe want to go get a drink or something to eat or some coffee or something?" And I said, "Sure." And he's like, "Really? Really?" He was like so surprised. And I said, "Yeah, why not?" And so he biked with me home. Apparently bikes that way every single day to the work. And he hasn't seen me before, so I went up with my groceries, went back down, then we went to his place, and because I am blonde, I just went inside. And once inside, I got showed around. He took my coat. He was a real gentleman. He gave me some candy, bread from Egypt, and some freshly pressed orange juice. He pressed it himself by hand. And then he started telling stories, and one of the stories was quite funny because he was visiting a friend of his brother in Scotland, and after arriving, he got stopped by the police outside of the airport building. And the police came up to him and said, "Can I see your passport?" And he said, "Yeah, sure." And then they said, pointed at his bags, and we were like, "Do you have some bombs in there? Have you come here to blow stuff up?" And he's like, "No, of course not." And the police just went on, "Are you sure you don't have something in your bag? Are you sure you're not a terrorist come here to blow shit up?" And then they asked, "Is it okay if I call someone?" Because he was also asked, like, "Who are you going to stay with? Have you met that person before?" And like, "No." And so he asked if he could call his friend, and the police allowed him. And once he was calling, the phone of the cop was ringing, because it turns out that that was his brother's friend, and he just wanted to hassle the new guy. Anyways, the story is better when he told it. I was laughing my ass off for like 5 minutes, and then he started getting clingy, like sitting right up next to me and touching my arm, and like, "No, stop that." And actually I had to tell him, "Stop that or I'm gonna kick you in the balls." And that made him stop. And then he actually went down on his knees and I did not propose. He dropped something on the floor and I had to pick it up. And he ended up on his knees right in front of me and I choked. Isn't it a bit early to get on your knees? And he said, yeah, it kind of is. But for you I would make an exception. And that was just like, oh boy. Then I had to tell him, I'm sorry. And he asked, so do you have a boyfriend waiting for you back home? And I said, no, I'm lesbian. And then he tried to convince me that I wasn't lesbian. And that even though I was lesbian, he was super deeply in love with me. And that I just had bad experiences with boys in the past. And so I left. But the face he made after I told him I'm lesbian was like, whoa, that looked so nice. Telling this to camera is a lot less interesting than telling it to the person I did yesterday. Because she was like all over the place. Tell me. It was quite funny actually. Both the date that I didn't know was a date, and telling people about it afterwards. And not least of all, messing with the guy now. Because I've told him that even if I wasn't gay, I would have no interest in him. But he keeps going on, and instead of blocking him, I've decided to send him on errands for me. To buy me shit. And it's working.